There will come a moment in your life when everything inside you tells you to quit. Your mind will whisper, it's too much. Your body will scream, stop. And the world will seem like it's pressing down on your chest, suffocating every last ounce of willpower you have left. But let me tell you this, you cannot give up. You're not here to break. You're not here to crumble under pressure. You were built to bend, but never shatter. You were forged in fire, in pain and silence. Every single challenge you faced was preparation. Every heartbreak, every loss, every night you spent crying alone was your training ground. And now the real test is here. Will you keep going when there's no applause, no support, no one watching? Most people fall when the pain hits, but not you. You're not most people. You're a different breed. You have a responsibility to yourself, to the future version of you, to fight back, to stand up when your knees are shaking, to keep walking when your legs are cramping, to keep pushing when your lungs are burning. This life, it's not going to hand you anything. You have to take it. You have to earn it. You have to bleed for it. Every time you feel weak, remind yourself why you started. What's at stake if you give up? Who are you letting down? Your past self who fought like hell to get here. Your future self who's counting on you to survive this moment. Or maybe it's all those people who said you'd never make it. Well, now's your chance to prove them wrong, not with words, but with actions soaked in discipline and suffering. You don't rise by staying comfortable. You rise by walking into the fire willingly. You rise by chasing discomfort like it owes you money. That voice in your head that says, give up. Strangled. Replace it with, try me. That's how warriors are built. Not in comfort, but in the dark, in silence, with no backup. You may feel alone right now, but you're not empty. You're full of untapped strength. Dig deeper. When your brain says you're done, you're only 40% done. That's when the real work begins. You've got more. You've always had more. You just need to remember who the hell you are. You cannot give up, because what's waiting for you on the other side of this pain is freedom, peace, and a version of you that's bulletproof. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your coach. It's the one thing that shows up every single day, whether you're ready or not, to whether you ask for it or not. And while everyone else runs from it, you've got to learn to run toward it. You want to grow? Then you've got to suffer. That voice in your head that tells you to back off the moment it gets hard. That voice is your enemy. The pain is the truth. It's the test. It's the signal that you're doing something that actually matters. Pain is proof that you're not stagnant. It's proof that you're grinding against the limits that once held you back. The problem is most people want results without the hardship. They want strength without sweat. They want transformation without torment. That's not how life works. You don't get stronger by lifting light weights. You get stronger when you're trembling, when your muscles are screaming, when your heart feels like it's going to explode, and yet you don't stop. Pain is the only mentor that never lies to you. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are. It shows up to make you better, to break the weak parts of you and expose who you really are underneath all the comfort and softness. When you start treating pain like a partner instead of a punishment, everything changes. You stop resenting it. You stop avoiding it. You start listening to it, learning from it. Because pain has something to say. It says, this is where the growth is. When you're in it, when you're on the edge, when your chest is on fire and your vision is blurring, that's when you meet the real version of yourself. That's when you discover what kind of fight you've got. Most people never meet that version. They tap out too early. They stop at the first sign of discomfort. But you're not most people. You're here because you're willing to bleed for progress. The world doesn't hand out greatness. It extracts it through suffering. You think warriors are built on easy days. They're built in the chaos, the hell, the moments when everything inside says, quit. And they say, not yet. They're built in the hours no one sees, in the workouts done alone, in the tears shed in silence. Pain is the steel that sharpens the blade. And if you're afraid of it, you'll never be sharp enough to cut through the barriers in front of you. Embrace it. Seek it. Because every ounce of pain you endure is an investment in the beast you're becoming. This world respects results, not excuses. And the only path to real results runs straight through pain. You've got to be willing to crawl through the mud, to suffer in the shadows, to sweat when everyone else is sleeping. You want something more out of life. Then be prepared to hurt more than others. Be prepared to go longer, bleed deeper, and rise from setbacks like they were nothing. Pain doesn't weaken you. It exposes your potential. Most people call it pain. Winners call it progress. That's the difference. And once you see pain for what it really is, you stop fearing it. You start craving it. You see, comfort never taught you anything. Comfort never demanded more. But pain keeps you honest. Pain keeps you sharp. It holds up a mirror and says, is this all you've got? And when you answer with more effort, more grit, more fight, that's when the transformation begins. So the next time pain knocks on your door, don't hide. Don't beg for relief. Open the damn door. Stand tall. Let's go. Comfort is a liar. It whispers sweet things in your ear, telling you've done enough, telling you to rest, telling you that tomorrow is a better day to start. But what comfort really does is poison your ambition. It creeps in when your goals are loud and turns them into whispers. It turns lions into sheep. It numbs your urgency and makes you think average is acceptable. But if you're chasing something bigger than yourself, if you're trying to become something unbreakable, you need to understand one truth. Comfort is your enemy. It doesn't help you evolve. It sedates your potential. The worst part about comfort, it fills the trap. It feels good to sleep in. It feels good to avoid hard conversations. It feels good to quit early when no one's watching. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Comfort is the drug that keeps people mediocre. You think staying safe will protect you, but all it does is protect your weaknesses. The more you choose ease, the more your edge disappears. Day by day, comfort eats away at your hunger until you forget what it even felt like to be truly hungry for change. Look around you. How many people are living in cages they built out of comfort? Safe jobs, safe routines, safe choices. They never push, they never risk, they never suffer. And because of that, they never grow. They sit back and blame the world for why they're stuck. But the truth is they chose soft paths. If you want to be rare, you've got to do what most won't. And most won't leave their comfort zone. They won't lace up their shoes and run when it's cold. They won't train when it's late. They won't grind when they're tired. That's your advantage. You do it anyway. Every time you choose discomfort, you separate yourself from the crowd. That cold shower, that extra mile, that hard truth you tell yourself in the mirror, that's where real identity is formed. You're not made in the moments when it's easy. You're built in the struggle. That's when the real version of you shows up. Not the polished version you post online, but the one that's been through the trenches. You can't find that version on the couch. You find it when your muscles are trembling, when your lungs are screaming, when you're staring at pain in the face and saying, I'm not backing down. If comfort is your default setting, then weakness becomes your reality. You can't sharpen a blade by stroking it gently. You beat it with fire and grind it on stone. The same goes for you. Your life should have resistance. If you're not uncomfortable daily, you're losing. Soft or weaker? And the world, it's not slowing down for you. It's waiting to punch you in the mouth. And when it does, your little comfort bubble won't save you. Only your discipline will. Only your suffering will. Only that mindset you forge in the hard times will keep you standing. You've got to chase discomfort like it owes you something. You've got to wake up looking for it. Let others seek pleasure. You seek pressure. Let others settle for adversity. Because every time you go through the hard route, every time you put yourself in a place where quitting is an option and you choose not to, you level up. You don't become a warrior in a warm bed. You become one in the cold, in the dark. So the next time your body says, rest, and your mind says, relax, you respond with, shut up. We've got work to do. There's a point where your mind tells you to stop. It feels like the edge. Like you've hit your max. Like you've got nothing left in the tank. That's the illusion. That's the built-in survival mechanism trying to keep you safe. But guess what? Safe doesn't build anything. Safe is a liar. The truth is this. When you think you're done, you're only at 40%. That pain, that fatigue, that burn you feel, that's the beginning. That's where real growth begins. Everything before that was just the warm up. Your mind taps out way before your body does. It's soft. It's been conditioned to avoid discomfort. So the moment things get hard, your heart starts racing, your lungs feel tight, your legs start shaking, your mind screams, we can't keep going. But that's not reality. That's fear talking. That's weakness trying to negotiate with you. You have to shut it down. You have to push through that wall and realize it's just smoke. The truth is on the other side of that wall. And when you break through, you find out just how much further you can go. Think about it. If you always stopped when you felt tired, how would you ever reach new levels? You wouldn't. You'd stay stuck, trapped in your own false limits. That's where most people live, inside a cage made of comfort and lies. But when you choose to ignore that first panic signal, when you say, hell no, to your mind trying to pull you out, you enter a whole different zone. That's where warriors are made. That's where most people quit. And you don't. Because you've trained your mind to understand the pain isn't a stop sign. It's a green light. You see, this 40% rule isn't about math. It's about mindset. It's about how much we leave on the table every single day because we're too used to pulling back early. You think you've reached your limit. But if someone put a gun to your head, you'd find 60% more. That means the limits you feel aren't real. They're made up walls you've accepted as truth. But the best, they don't stop when it hurts. They stop when it's done. They stop when the mission is complete. And even then, they ask, what's next? You have to teach your mind that discomfort is not danger, it's data. It's feedback. It's your body telling you it's being pushed, and that's exactly what it needs. You don't grow without that edge. You don't evolve in the easy zone. You evolve when you enter that place where every fiber in your being says, stop, and you still say, go. That place is sacred. That place is where champions live. If you can fight through the lies your mind tells you, if you can get past the fake finish line, it's limitless what you can become. The people who win at life aren't the most talented. They're the ones who've learned how to suffer longer than the rest. They're the ones who've stared at that 40% wall, laughed at it, and smashed right through it. They've turned their pain threshold into a tool. They know that every time their body wants to quit, they've got more. And not just a little more, miles more. If you want to be unstoppable, if you want to rise beyond what anyone thought you were capable of, you better learn this truth when you feel finished. You're just getting started. Anyone can perform when the lights are on. Anyone can talk tough when the cameras are rolling, when the crowd is cheering, when they know someone is watching. That's not discipline. That's performance for validation. But the real test, that happens in silence. No audience. Just your thoughts, your demons, and the decision to either put in the work or take the easy way out. That's where most people fold. Because there's no applause for pain in the shadows. There's no pat on the back for doing what no one sees. But that's where the elite are forged, in the dark. You want to know who someone really is? Watch what they do when the world isn't watching. When the alarm clock hits 4 a.m. and no one's holding them accountable. When the plan fails and nobody's around to pick them up. When the room is empty, the doubt is loud, and all that's left is the grind. That's where identity is revealed. The weak wait for motivation. The strong show up regardless. Because they understand something most never will. Success isn't built during the event. It's built before it. In the quiet hours, far away from attention. You train in silence so you can perform under pressure. You bleed in private so you don't break in public. But the moment you start cutting corners in the dark, the moment you start lying to yourself when no one's around, that's the moment your foundation starts to crack. And those cracks may be invisible now, but when life hits you hard, and they'll shatter everything you thought you had. That's why integrity matters more than hype, because hype is noise. But what you've done in the shadows, that's permanent. That's real. To most people live for validation. They live for approval. They want to be seen grinding. They want the likes, the comments, the claps. But those same people can't sustain because they're driven by attention, not obsession. And when the attention disappears, as it always does, so does their effort. That's why you have to be your own audience. You have to be the one holding the standard when no one else will. If your work ethic is based on being seen, you'll never last. But if it's based on personal pride, on self-respect, on knowing what you're capable of, you become dangerous. It's easy to tell the world what you're going to do. It's easy to scream, I'm different, when people are listening. But none of that matters if your actions don't back it up when nobody's there to witness it. What separates beasts from boys, warriors from wannabes, is what happens in isolation. What happens when it's just you and the decision to either show up or give in. That's the war zone. That's the proving ground. No one texting? Good job. Just cold silence and the question, will you still do the work? Every rep you do alone, every mile you run solo, every choice you make to sacrifice comfort when no one's there to validate it, that's where your advantage is built. That's where the competition loses and you gain ground. Because while they're asleep, you're stacking wins in the dark. While they're waiting for motivation, you're grinding off pure will. No one claps for that. But that's the point. You're not doing it for praise. You're doing it because it's who you are, is your domain. It's where your power is built and the world will only see the results. But you'll know where it came from. They doubt you. Good. Let them. Every time someone says you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, thank them. Because they just gave you fuel. They handed you a reason to keep going when everything inside you says quit. People want to be believed in. They want support, encouragement, pats on the back. But warriors, they don't need validation. They need resistance. They use every single ounce of doubt as a weapon, not to prove others wrong, but to forge themselves into something undeniable. When they look at you and laugh, remember that moment. When they say you'll never make it, every name, every sneer, every back turned on you, store it like ammo. That's the kind of fuel that doesn't fade like motivation. Motivation is cute. Doubt is permanent. And when it's 3 a.m. and your legs feel like bricks, when your lungs are collapsing and your body wants to shut down, it won't be motivation that saves you. It'll be that voice in your head screaming, they think you can't. And your response better be, watch me. You don't rise by proving them wrong. You rise by proving to yourself that you're unbreakable because of the doubt. Every time they underestimated you, they were doing you a favor. They were reminding you that your greatness will never be handed to you. You have to take it, earn it, bleed for it. You have to go so far past their opinions that your existence becomes a rebuke to every limitation they try to place on you. Not with words, not with noise, with discipline, with grind, with work so brutal and consistent that no one can deny it anymore. You ever notice how the doubters always speak first? They're loud in the beginning, but silent at the finish line. That's because they've never been in the trenches. They've never had to fight through the dark alone, suffered for anything real. So when they see you willing to go further, hurt deeper, risk more, they get uncomfortable. They start projecting their limits onto you. That's not your burden. That's their weakness. You don't turn it into weight plates. You turn it into reps. You turn it into early mornings and late nights. Doubt becomes your training partner. Most people run from criticism. They avoid judgment. But that's where the sharpening happens. That's the fire you need. Let them laugh. Let them post, whisper, point fingers. Because when you're building something legendary, it's supposed to feel lonely. It's supposed to look crazy. It's supposed to be doubted. That's how you know you're on the right track. If nobody doubts you, you're not dreaming big enough. If nobody's uncomfortable with your grind, you're not going hard enough. The moment they question you is the moment you know you're moving in the right direction. Want to? You've got to become obsessed with the silence that comes after the doubt. That moment when the same people who said you couldn't now sit in awe because you did, but you're not doing it for them. Your doubt lit a fire so deep in you, became permanent. It became fuel you could tap into on the darkest days. Disrespected, forgotten, you added another log to the fire. And now that fire doesn't burn out because you've turned their disbelief into your discipline. You've turned their doubt into your drive. You may not feel like it right now. You might be broken, tired, worn down from the fight. But let me tell you something no one else will. You are built for this. You were made to endure. Not by chance, not by luck. But through the hell you've already survived. Every scar on your body, every failure, every time you were rejected, every time you fell and still stood back up, that was your construction. You weren't born soft. You were born with fire in your blood. You just forgot. And now it's time to remember. Pain didn't destroy you. It prepared you. The nights you spent alone. The mornings you wanted to quit. The days that broke your heart. They were the blueprint. They didn't happen to you. They happened for you. Life was molding you through chaos. And guess what? You're still standing. You've taken punches that would knock most people out cold. You've been dragged to disappointment, failure, betrayal, and you kept going. That's proof. That's evidence. You don't need outside validation. Your survival is your certification. You were designed for the deep end. The chaos is your comfort zone. Everyone wants to win, but nobody wants to be uncomfortable. But you've already been in the furnace. You know what it's like to suffer in silence. You've felt the sting of doubt, the weight of fear, the sting of being underestimated. And still, you're here. That means something. That means you're different. You're not ordinary. Ordinary people would have quit by now. Ordinary people would have folded under the pressure. But not you. You didn't fold. You forged. And now it's time to take that truth and let it drive you through whatever storm you're facing. The pain doesn't scare you anymore because you've made it part of you. You've stopped running from it and started running with it. That's what people don't understand. You're not just surviving pain. You're thriving inside it. You've adapted. You've become immune to the comfort that weakens most people. You've learned to eat stress for breakfast. You've conditioned yourself to wake up to chaos and smile. Because you know something they don't. You are not the same. You are carved from pressure. Sculpted in the storm, you don't break. You bend, you bleed, but you don't break. The moment life starts to crush you, that's when your instincts kick in. That's when your training takes over. Because deep inside, there's a part of you built for the fire. There's a part of you that needs it. You're not running from the hard times. You're hunting them. Because you know on the other side of suffering is evolution. And not the kind you read about, the kind you feel in your bones. The kind that wakes you up at 4 a.m. drenched in sweat. Knowing that nobody's coming to save you. And being glad for it. That's power. That's purpose. That's what you were built for. You are not fragile. You are not soft. You are not a product of your circumstances. You're a product of your response to them. And your response has always been this: keep going. No matter what. Keep moving. No matter who quit. Keep showing up. No matter how loud the pain gets. That's not weakness. That's willpower. That's DNA. That's the quiet, savage truth. No one can. The truth is brutal. And most people can't handle nobody's coming to save you. Not your family. Not your friends. Not some mentor. Not the government. Not the universe. You can sit around and wait for someone to fix your life. But all you're doing is wasting time. You think someone's going to knock on your door and hand you discipline? Hand you grit? Hand you the results you never earned? That's not how this works. The world doesn't owe you rescue. It doesn't owe you help. It owes you nothing. And once you accept that truth, you finally become dangerous. We're raised to believe that if we cry loud enough, complain long enough, or fail dramatically enough, someone will come running. But life doesn't respond to weakness. Life doesn't reward the victim. It rewards the one who gets up even when everything is broken. You want someone to save you. Look in the mirror. That's your lifeline. That reflection. That's the only person responsible for where you are and where you're going. You keep waiting for help, you'll die waiting. The clock is ticking, and every second you spend hoping for someone else to do the work is another second lost to regret. People love to talk about struggle. They love to post about pain, but very few actually do something about it. Why? Because they want to be seen, not saved. They want attention, not action. But if you're serious, if you're really ready to change, then stop talking and start doing. Drag yourself out of the pit. Climb, crawl, bleed, cry, but keep going. The work won't be pretty. It won't be easy, but it will be real. And real progress only starts when you stop looking outward and start going all in on yourself. You are your own rescue mission. No one knows your demons like you do. No one sees the weight you carry. So how can they possibly save you from it? They can't. They won't. They're too busy trying to survive their own battles. And even if someone wanted to help you, they can't fight for you. You've got to swing the hammer. You've got to show up when you don't feel like it. You've got to discipline yourself to stand tall in moments when your legs are shaking. That's the mark of a warrior, not waiting for aid, but becoming the answer to your own problems. You've got to rewire your mindset. Stop begging. Stop hoping. Stop making excuses. The world is cold and life is relentless. But you were built to adapt. You were built to overcome. The moment you stop expecting someone to do the work for you is the moment you take control. Nobody's going to fight your battles. Nobody's going to dig you out of that hole. That job belongs to you. And the second you accept that full ownership, you level up into a completely different breed of human. You want freedom. You want strength. You build it. No one's going to pull you from your rock bottom. No one's handing you greatness. It has to be taken. And the price is high. It costs isolation. It costs every excuse you've ever made. But in return, you gain power. Real power. The kind that doesn't depend on applause, help, or sympathy. The kind that says, I did this. I fought. I bled. I saved myself. That's what separates the weak from the relentless. And once you understand that, you become unstoppable at you. You either have it or you don't. And you've had it this whole time. It's time to stop questioning yourself and start acting like the beast you already are. Motivation is a liar. Disappears when you need it most. It's emotional. It's soft. It's a fair weather friend that disappears in the storm. But discipline never leaves. Discipline shows up whether you feel like it or not. It doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care how tired you are. It's not waiting for inspiration. It's the cold, hard decision to do what needs to be done every single time, especially when everything inside you wants to quit. That's what saves you. Not hype, not talent. When your body's wrecked, when your mind's screaming for comfort, when the voices in your head are begging you to stop, that's where discipline steps in. It doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't wait for you to feel strong. It grabs you by the throat and says, we're going anyway. That's the difference. The average stop when it's convenient. The elite, they show up regardless. Discipline isn't about feelings. It's about execution. It's about deciding in advance that no matter how you feel tomorrow, the work gets done. No matter what the weather is, how heavy life feels, how lonely the road gets, you go. People don't understand why they keep failing. It's not because they're not good enough. It's because they rely on emotion. They chase a feeling, not a standard. They work hard when they're hyped up, then disappear when it's boring. But you don't get strong by showing up sometimes. You get strong by showing up always. That's the difference between ordinary and savage. It's not the big moments. It's the silent ones. The days when you lace up the shoes with no one watching. When you hit the reps that no one sees. When you live like a machine while the world's sleeping. Discipline is the most brutal form of self-respect. It's you versus you every single day. No applause. No recognition. Just repetition. That alarm goes off, you get up. That schedule hits, you move. That resistance shows up, you crush it. You become your own boss. Your own drill sergeant, your own accountability. Because if you rely on the world to push you, you're already finished. The world doesn't care if you want to. That's why your discipline has to be iron. You can't afford to waver. Discipline is the line between survival and success, between drowning and dominance. Everything you want is locked behind your consistency. You don't get freedom until you master structure. You don't get peace until you live through pressure. That's the price. You build the body, the business, the life, but when it's hell. And the only thing that gets you through hell is discipline. It's doing the work even when no result is in sight. It's doing the right thing even when the wrong thing feels better. It's no. When everyone else is saying yes. Because deep down, you know, that version you're chasing, he only respects discipline. You want to change your life. Don't wait on a spark. Build a system. Build a routine so ruthless that it doesn't matter what mood you're in, the job gets done. Make your life a contract with yourself, no negotiation, no compromise, no excuses. And when life knocks you down, discipline is what gets you back up. Not motivation, not hype, not luck. Discipline. That's what separates those who rise from those who rot. That's what saves you when everything else fails. You've come too far to quit now. You've bled for this. You've cried in silence. You've sacrificed sleep, comfort, and ease just to keep moving forward when everyone else sat down. You didn't break when life hit you. You didn't fold when you were alone. You didn't run when it got dark. You kept walking. Every ounce of pain you've endured has built a version of you that doesn't quit. Not now. Not ever. They don't know what it took for you to survive. They don't know how many times you got knocked down and still stood up. But you do. You know the weight you've carried, the demons you fought, the nights you went to war with your own mind and came out the other side. That's why you can't give up. Because if you quit now, you betray the version of you that refused to die back then. The truth is simple. You either keep going or you get buried by the same pain you were supposed to conquer. There's no halfway. There's no tapping out. You want a different life? You fight for it. You bleed for it. You become the kind of person who doesn't need a savior because you saved yourself. No one is going to hand you peace. No one is going to gift you greatness. You've got to rip it from the jaws of fear. And you can't do that if you keep quitting every time it gets hard. The world is watching, but more importantly, your future is watching. Future version is screaming, Cave go inch. You've got more in the tank, more strength, more fight, more heart. Don't let weakness write your legacy. Don't let comfort steal your calling. You came here for a reason. You fought through hell to get this far. So finish the damn mission.